Fox Sports.
We are the Fourth. We are South.
This weekend might be the best weekend to be an Atlanta Braves baseball fan. It's Alumni Weekend, and as we celebrate 50 great seasons of baseball in Atlanta, we take special attention of the 1995 World Series champion Braves. It's the 20th anniversary of Atlanta's sports championship, and a lot of the alumni are here on a special night here at Turner Field. Hi again, friends, along with one of those 1995 Brave stars, Tom Glavine and Joe Simpson. Chip Carey, welcome to the ballpark. Should be a lot of fun tonight. We've got a lot of former Braves joining us during the broadcast, and with all the pomp and circumstance before the game, there was also a big trade made before the game, Joe. The Braves and Indians hooked up in a biggie today.
Yeah, speaking of former Braves coming home, Michael Bourne has been reacquired by the Atlanta Braves in a trade for Chris Johnson. Also in the deal is veteran outfielder and first baseman Nick Swisher. But, Tom, what I like the best about this is that Michael Bourne is a guy that since he's been gone, it's been tough for the Braves to find a leadoff guy. He's back in the fold, and he'll be doing just that.
Yeah, since he's been gone, there's been a void at the top of that lineup that Freddie Gonzalez has been constantly trying to fill guys in and out. But Michael did a spectacular job when he was here. So let's hope that coming back here in an environment that he's comfortable in a role, hopefully, that he's comfortable in, he can recapture some of that and add or at least bring some stability to that leadoff spot.
And let's not forget Nick Swisher either. He can really swing the bat, and with Freddie Freeman disabled, that's another piece of lumber in the lineup potentially for Freddie Gonzalez. So a big trade for a lot of hitters. How about the pitching matchup tonight? It's a beauty. Julio Teheran for the Braves, Jose Fernandez for the Marlins. It's game 2 of our series in Atlanta. And we'll be back with lineups and first pitch on this special night right after this.
Low price every day.
Beautiful night for baseball and a great pitching matchup. Jose Fernandez for the Marlins. Julio Teheran is pitching for the Braves. Two guys, fellas, that have electric stuff when they're on. And Julio really pitched a great game last time out for the Braves.
I loved what he did because he set the tone early when he knocked Michael Franco down after Franco had really pulled one deep off of him foul. Knocked him down, wound up striking him out. 1-2-3 first inning and set the tone for the whole game. I thought his best outing of the year.
Well, he needs to build on that for sure and get a little bit of consistency going. He's had a little bit of the good start, bad start. So it'd be nice to see him get things figured out a little bit, string 5 or 6 good ones together here and have a good one here tonight.
Last night we had a real slugfest. The Braves won 9-8 over the Marlins. Teams combined for 25 hits. Atlanta got a 2-out RBI from Yuri Perez to provide the winning margin. Don't expect to see 17 runs combined in Game 2 tonight. D. Gordon will lead things off for the Fish. He's atop the Academy Sports and Outdoors batting order for Dan Jennings, the Miami manager. Dietrich, Yelich, Bohr, and Martin Prado, the top 5. Ichiro Suzuki had a couple of hits last night. Adeiny Echeverria is the shortstop. Jeff Mathis back in there behind the plate. And flame-throwing Jose Fernandez, a good hitting pitcher, by the way, is in the number 9 spot.
4 keys for pitching success tonight for Julio Teheran, and it is kind of on the heels of that start in Philadelphia. Is to start fast and to get off to that good start by mowing down the first 3 guys in the order. That includes D. Gordon, who does such a good job of setting the tone for their entire offense. Keep him off base, and when he does get on base, use that good move to keep him from running.
A little different look for the Braves defensive lineup tonight. With the trade of Chris Johnson to Cleveland, the Braves were a player short, so they brought up Todd Cunningham. You might recall Todd Cunningham had a great series against the Marlins down in Miami. He was 8 for 12 against them. So Freddie Gonzalez hoping that lightning will strike here in Game 2 of the series. Maben in center, Markakis in right. Joey Turdosilovich gets the start at first base. Chase Peterson, Daniel Castro, Adonis Garcia, and A.J. Brzezinski is back behind the plate. It's expected that Michael Bourn and Nick Swisher will be here tomorrow for the Braves. So we'll see how Atlanta fares against Fernandez, and we'll see how Julio Teheran does in the opening inning against the Marlins tonight. First inning has been a trouble spot for Julio. Don't want to get behind Fernandez early if you can avoid it.
Yeah, it's been a trouble spot for all the Brave starters, it seems, but you're right. You don't want to get down to this guy.
.87 degrees at first pitch. Gentle breeze blowing across the diamond from left to right. And Teheran got a corner called. It's an even count. D. Gordon has the most hits in the National League, 131 of them. And he's hitting .330 for the year. And he can lay down a bunt with the best of them. Teheran had to hurry, and he got him. What a play.
That was nice. Picked it up off the ground and just kind of threw from that same spot.
Yeah, did a nice job surrounding the ball so that when he picked it up, he was in a good position to make a strong throw. And with his D. Gordon speed, that's what he needed. Great play.
That brings up former Georgia Tech star Derek Dietrich. Dietrich had a nice night last night. He had a 3rd inning home run. He scored a couple of runs last night. And he takes the ball outside. As Joe told you last night, Dietrich, a converted infielder. They've put him in the outfield after he had some defensive issues and got smoked with a ground ball in spring training. Hit him in the face. He's a work in progress defensively in left, but the Marlins really like his bat. He's hit 7 home runs this year.
That's a strike, isn't it? Think it's high?
I don't think so, but they never call it.
They don't call it.
No.
Top of the zone, according to PNC Bank.
Ground ball to first. Tricky hop, but Tardosilovic stayed with it. Sharply hit, but Dietrich's retired. 2 down.
One of the other things, Tom, about that start in Philadelphia for Julio, he's second in the league in walks going into that start. He didn't walk anybody.
Well, and that's certainly been both the walks and the home runs. It seems like it's one or the other. You know, and it's, I think sometimes he gets in that mode where maybe he's given up some home runs in his last start, so he starts trying to pitch away from contact a little bit. But yeah, with the adjustments he made in that last start certainly were positive ones, and continue to build on that.
Speaking of adjustments, it's safe to say Christian Yelich has made a few. He was really struggling at the plate in the early weeks of the season. But he's been swinging a hot bat since, and Cunningham is tested, made the play, and Teheran has no first inning trouble. 9 pitches earned him 3 outs, and Jose Fernandez faces the Braves in the first when we come back. Julio Teheran get the Marlins out in order. 1-2-3 in the first. Here come the Braves, who scored 9 runs last night. Jace Peterson was part of that. He'll lead off the Academy Sports and Outdoors starting 9. Nick Markakis 3rd, Przinsky 4th, Todd Cunningham 8th, Teheran 9th, and they've got their work cut out for them, don't they?
Jose Fernandez 4-0 on the year, and you see his number career against the Braves in 4 starts, 3-1 with an 0.93 ERA and a whole bunch of strikeouts.
Peterson got a fastball and fouled it away. Strike 1. Jose Fernandez making his 7th start since coming back from Tommy John surgery. He had that operation May 14th of last year. He has yet to lose a game this season. He has yet to lose a game at home. However, Joe, his home road splits might favor the Braves tonight.
Yeah, they're not all that pretty in his career. In his career, his ERA 3.87 away from Marlins Park and a 5-8 record. But here at Turner Field, 1-1 with a 129 and just a 125 average against him in this park.
And there's the explosive slider that takes care of Jace Peterson for out number 1.
Last time he was here, he struck out 14. That tied his career high.
And a lot of them were with this pitch. Throws it to lefties and righties, down and in, back foot to lefties. Sweeps it across the zone against righties. If he's got that pitch working, he's going to be tough.
Daniel Castro's been moved to the 2nd spot in the order because he's got hits in 4 of his last 5 games for the Braves. Gonzalez putting the hottest hitters at the top of the order from Markakis and Przinsky, who both have lengthy hitting streaks. And Benitez evens the count.
So when your home ERA over your first 24 starts is the best since they've started keeping that stat, is that good?
Normally.
Yeah.
He's 15-0 with a 1.14 ERA at Marlins Park.
But even with the higher ERA on the road this year, what are the batting average against?
In the air to right, but Ichiro will track it down. He's got it, and 2 are out.
He's 6'2", 215, 23 years old, born in Cuba. His family went to South Florida, where he was a #1 pick by the Marlins in 2011.
And it was not an easy journey for Jose Fernandez to get to the United States. As Marquez goes to work and drives one toward left. Long run Dietrich. He's going to get there. And Fernandez also has a 9-pitch first inning. We'll talk more about his journey to the U.S. as we move to inning number 2 in Atlanta. Well, y'all know who that was, don't you? Our Lowe's Never Stop Improving feature, the one and only Chipper Jones, Braves all-time leader in hits, homers, RPIs, 8-time All-Star, MVP in 1999, part of that great 1995 club as well, and he doesn't look a day over 25, does he?
I don't know about that. There's a lot of gray down here in this chin hair.
Yeah, we were watching that video earlier today, and I said, you know, it's weird in my head that I feel like I just watched that last week, like you're still playing, and yet I know it wasn't last week.
It's hard to believe it's gone by so fast, you know. I mean, it seems like yesterday this guy and I were, you know, teammates and winning a bunch of ball games, and man, time just flies when you're having fun.
No, it's just when you get older that it goes faster.
It's supposed to slow down, isn't it?
I don't know. My parents always said, wait till you get older, it flies. And they were right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
No.
1-1 pitch to Justin. Boy, this is my favorite weekend of the season, Chipper. What's it like getting back to the ballpark and seeing all your old teammates and guys that you probably grew up watching and following?
I had so much fun today. It was a blast. We had the luncheon today with just the guys from '95 and just telling old war stories. And we were on the bus riding back, and I said, guys, I love y'all to death, man. We won a World Series. I go, but the best team I ever played on was 1992 in Greenville. We won. And a couple of the guys from, on the 95 team were on that club as well, so they knew what I was talking about. I think we won 106 games out of 150, but a lot of success here in the Braves uniform.
Bohr unloads deep toward right. Marquez back. He's going to have room shy of the track. 1 out. That's the most amazing thing to me about you guys as a group. You may not see a guy for 10, 15 years, but you get together in a room and it's like you've never been apart. It's incredible.
Yeah, the memories just come flooding back. I mean, I was sitting at a table at lunch with, Maddox and Avery and Charlie O'Brien.
Oh, boy.
All right. So, we needed rubber boots because the crap that was being talked was kind of thick.
What's your favorite memory from '95 other than the obvious of Game 6?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's number one. Probably my first start, first game of the year. Doggy was pitching. It was my first start at third base. It was against the Giants, and I think our first 6 hitters of the season got base hits and all scored in the first inning. In the top of the first, Barry Bonds comes up, and we're playing kind of a shift on him, and obviously I was a rookie, pretty exuberant rookie at that, and Bonds hits a pop-up just on the first base side of the pitcher's mound. And so, me being a third baseman, I'm going to take charge. I'm going to show everybody I'm, taking charge and whatnot. So I come running in, and I'm screaming. Bobby used to make us wear those old flip downs. And next thing I know, I'm laying flat on my back.
Martin flips one into shallow right, and Peterson catches it for the second out.
I'm laying flat on my back, and I got my flip downs in my mouth, okay? And all I can hear is about the worst dog cussing I've ever had in my life by Maddox. I ran slap over Maddox. And the funny part was Freddie McGriff is standing there having caught the ball, looking at both of us, laughing his rear end off at both of us because I got my flip downs in my mouth and Greg Maddox is dog cussing me. So that was my first start in the big leagues. First inning.
Good start to your career.
I ran over the $10 million man.
Here's Ichiro with 2 outs, and he takes outside. 2 balls, no strikes. Sure, Chipper, you've been following the Braves from afar. Your thoughts on what John Hart's been doing and what he did today?
I don't know the details of what happened today, but I give the guy credit. I have from the get-go. I think this was something that needed to be done. I think that we experienced our success as an organization when we kind of built from within, and our minor league system has not been the best over the last few years, and he's doing what he needs to do to kind of replenish that farm system. And I know that the product up here might not be what people want to see on a day in and day out basis, but I think it's going to be better for us in the long run.
Ichiro skies one toward Cunningham in left. And Julio Teheran is off to a terrific start. Chipper, can you stick around for the bottom of the inning? Sure. All right, Chipper Jones with us in the booth. No score. Braves and Marlins Game 2. With you. No score as we expected. Teheran and Fernandez are dealing tonight. We celebrate the 20th anniversary of the 1995 World Series Club. Chipper Jones fans are still here. Chipper got a chance to hang out with Smoltzy. How's John?
How do you think? I mean, John's John.
Well, yes. Now that he's in the Hall of Fame, is he any different now?
Well, I mean, I haven't talked to him since then. He came by and commented on my chin hair, saying, you know, man, it's getting awfully gray, awfully quick. But, you know, Smoltzy's Smoltzy. He's gonna be the life of the party when he shows up. Let's put it that way.
What'd you think of the Hall of Fame speech? Did you hear it?
I thought his speech was great. I think I could have done without the wig, but I mean, you know, the speech was great. You know, he had a great message, especially there at the end, which I 100% agree with as far as kids, the amount of games and the amount of repetitions that kids are getting at a very young age nowadays with the you know, summer ball and travel ball and all that kind of stuff. So I thought that was a good message, and hopefully parents and youngsters will play some different sports and not play so many baseball games.
You two guys sitting right here with all the success you had, you didn't play baseball year-round, either one of you.
No, played football, played basketball, ran a little track. You know what? It kept baseball fresh.
Yeah.
You know, and every spring when baseball season came around, you were so jacked up to play it, you know. Don't make baseball a job for them at 12, 13 years old.
Cameron Maybin digs in and takes a strike. Cameron with 8 homers, 48 knocked in, had an RBI last night, and had a hit in 3 at bats.
But no high stirrups tonight. I miss them. Apparently he was told that was not something he could continue.
Violation of the dress code, I guess.
I guess. I don't know. I loved them.
It had a little bit of a beer league softball look.
Kinda.
I mean, they were a little high. Let's put it that way.
Hey, that's the way they wore their socks when I broke in.
Yeah.
Which I guess qualifies as the old days now.
Hey, I was just going to say about Doggy. Doggy wore the one piece, but he had his
forever. He had his
so-called stirrups kind of high.
You know what drove me crazy about Doggy's get up when he was, you know, pitching? Is, you know, I mean, okay, you wear the 2-in-1 sock, all right, but he wouldn't line up his pant stripe with his
sock stripe.
With his sock stripe, and that it irks me. I mean, the stripe should go all the way down, and he had it like 2 inches, you know, 2 inches apart. It looked terrible.
Yeah,
but
the sock stripes going up his shin.
I don't really think Doggy cared all that much.
Yeah, if he's hitting it at Doggy, you're probably what? What's wrong?
2 balls, 2 strikes for Cameron Maybin. We're visiting with Braves great Chipper Jones. And Maybin fouls it back. Going back to Smoltz's speech, Chipper, it had to make you feel good that John recognized you when you will take your rightful place in Cooperstown. That's quite a compliment.
It is. And, you know, obviously not counting my chickens before they hatch, but just honored to, you know, that people say that about my career, and totally proud of all those guys and Tommy as well. You know, I mean, it's a great compliment that we've had our manager and 3 of our pitchers go in, you know, over the last couple years. And, you know, Cooperstown has been Braves country for the last couple years, which is really cool.
And Chavarria got a big hop. Maybin's retired, 2 out.
Yeah, let's hear what he had to say at the speech.
To Chipper Jones, soon to be inducted in the Hall of Fame, another one of the Atlanta Braves. I'm not going to say anything about him because he'll have the mic last. But somebody please steal his Twitter account, please. That would help.
That's funny. I played with a guy 15 years, and all he brings up is my Twitter account. Are you kidding me? Really?
You can sound.
I'm not going to say anything bad, but somebody please steal his Twitter account.
There's a shot by Tudoslavich toward Dietrich and left. You can say, boy, the game sure has changed, huh?
It sure has changed.
Chipper, great to see you, man. Enjoy the weekend.
Yeah.
Stay hydrated, and congratulations.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it. See you, bud.
Tampa Bay after the game Sunday against the Marlins. A brief 2-game series with the Rays at Tropicana Field. Braves fans, we're just a week away from John Smoltz Hall of Fame bobblehead night, Friday, August 14th against the Diamondbacks. That's brought to you by Coca-Cola and Delta Airlines. The first 20,000 guests through the gates will get a bobblehead featuring the newly elected Hall of Famer. Get your tickets today by visiting braves.com/tickets. And John has confirmed with us he will join us in the booth on Friday night. So we look forward to that. Danny Echeverria leads off for Miami. And that's in for a strike. Yeah, John's going to join us here tomorrow. I beg your pardon. Maybe he'll come on the 14th too. You never know. Sharply hit, and the ball found Todosilovic. Joey stayed with that hot shot, and Julio's retired the first 7 in order.
Always good to keep everybody involved. Pitching to contact. No strikeouts yet. That's just fine. 7 up, 7 down.
Jeff Mathis is the Marlins catcher. And there's a first pitch base hit with 1 man out. Mathis getting some extended playing time because JT Realmuto is their regular catcher. He's got a bruised catching hand. He can pinch hit, but fastballs are being thrown by guys like Fernandez really causing that hand a lot of discomfort. So another day off for Realmuto, and Mathis in the lineup tonight.
Bad injury for a catcher. As you said before, good hitting pitcher, Chip. 2 hits so far on the year, a double and a homer.
Lays down a bunt this time, and the peg to first in plenty of time. Second sacrifice for Fernandez. Mathis to second for D. Gordon. So far, biggest play in the game might be Julio Teheran retiring D. Gordon.
Yeah, you let him get on leading off an inning. It's always a dangerous inning, but I don't know. There was always something about a first inning bunt single by the leadoff guy that rubbed me the wrong way to start a game, because it was the last thing you were expecting.
So the hits leader in the league has a chance to bring home Mathis with 2 outs. And Julio a strike. Fly foul, and quickly 0-2.
One of the other things I noticed in Philadelphia, Tom, was that Julio wasn't messing around a lot. He still threw his 2-seamer, but he wasn't trying to be so fine and make sure that it was tailing off the plate away from left-handers, etc. He was aggressive.
Well, and you have to be with that pitch.
To short. Castro, long throw, just in time. Dan Jennings might want to take a look at this one at first base. The call was out at first base.
Hunter Wendelstedt is the umpire, and no dispute.
So the inning is over. Castro continues his good work at shortstop. Strong arm to get a fast man. And on 8 pitches, Teheran works his way through a scoreless top of the 3rd inning. Big three as we celebrate the 20th anniversary of the 1995 World Series winning Braves. Only fitting that we have a pitching matchup as good as the one we have tonight. Tehran is through 3 innings with only 1 hit allowed. Braves have yet to have a runner reach against Jose Fernandez. Missed outside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Ball sure comes out of his hand easily.
Yeah, he's got nice, easy delivery, and he throws hard, but it gets on you quick.
Line drive to right, and Ichiro's got it. And there's out number 1. Told you Fernandez's journey to the United States was not an easy one. His father defected from Cuba in 2005. 2 years later, Jose, his mother, and sister attempted to leave Cuba. Fernandez was caught 3 separate times and jailed 3 separate times while trying to defect. He finally got out, went to Tampa, where he became a high school pitching star. In fact, the Cincinnati Reds were ready to swoop in and sign him to a contract because he'd been declared ineligible by the state of Florida to pitch his senior year in high school. Popped up by Todd Cunningham. And Echeverria drifts out to make the play. 2 down. Fernandez appealed, went 13-1 his senior year, and was drafted 14th overall by the Marlins in 2011. And this April, Jose Fernandez's crowning achievement in life, he said, he became a United States citizen.
Very cool.
I know they love him in Miami, and well, they should. He's very popular with his teammates. And with all the consternation that took place when they changed managers, a move that was not received well by a lot of the team, he has come in as an active player now and has not gotten involved in all of that, and has tried to make it clear to everyone how lucky they all are to be in the big leagues, no matter who their manager is, and let's play baseball.
Two quick strikes for Tehran, and the inning is over. He has struck out a man in each of his first 3 innings. He's perfect through 3, and we head to the 4th inning, still scoreless. Who's your favorite player from the 1995 World Series team and why? Tweet us at Fox Sports South using hashtag 95 World Series team, and your tweet could be read during Braves Live after the game. One might be enough to win tonight.
It might be the way these guys are starting out.
Push-ups included. That's a new one.
Jose Fernandez, 9 up, 9 down. Julio Tehran's allowed a first pitch single to Jeff Mathis. He's the only Marlins base runner in the game. in the 4th inning. Dietrich, Yelich, and Bohr are coming up.
Tommy, I watched Shelby Miller pitch. He's got a little hip turn. Certainly Jose Fernandez does. I remember you also turning your front shoulder and front side a little bit. Where does that come from? What's the purpose?
You know, I know for me it was all part of, you know, getting loaded on that back leg so you could then uncoil and get that leg drive and push off going towards home plate, generate your power with your legs. You know, I know everybody's different, obviously, but you know, for me, it was my checkpoint was always I wanted to make sure the hitter was seeing my back pocket. That's when I knew my turn was right.
Mile high pop up over by the Braves dugout. Play for Drasnich.
It almost like when I'm watching Fernandez when he does his turn, all of that momentum just seems to take so much pressure off his arm, and yet he still throws mid-90s.
Yeah, and you know, I think, look, he's got very good mechanics, and he uses his legs very well, and
big guy,
and you know, for as hard as he throws, it's, you know, it doesn't look like one of so many of those max effort kind of deliveries that we see out of so many guys today.
One ball, 2 strikes to Dietrich. Bounced out to first in the 1st.
Julio's made an adjustment too on his delivery. Moving over to the first base side, a little more on the first base side of the rubber.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I know Roger talked about with him, was trying to get him off of the third base side and over to the first base side, give him a better line to getting inside on left-handed hitters.
Look out. One ball, 2 strikes. And now 2-2. Foul ball may have gotten a young fan, but he or she is walking out. He'll be all right. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And down and in for Dietrich. Full count. Christian Yelich, Justin Bohr are due next.
I know. Let's go to the ball game and all of us sit and look at our telephones while the game's going on.
And sit down really close to the action.
Yeah. Get real good seats, and then we'll just be on our phone all night.
Downstairs, Dietrich with a leadoff walk.
Just a little bit inside on our PNC Bank box tracks.
I think that's the pitch that he struggled with the most, really, for me, when I watch him pitch. That's been different from previous years, is that ability to get that pitch in there, or when he tries to throw that 2-seamer, it comes back a little bit. It's leaked over to the heart of the plate too much, and left-handed hitters are getting too good of swings on it.
AJ held that there. And it wasn't a strike. 1 ball, no strikes to count.
That one not as close as the one before.
I think the other thing moving over will help Julio with was that pitch away, because where he's a 2-seamer, sinker, changeup guy, being on that side of the rubber was similar to me pitching from the third base side with right-handed hitters. You throw that pitch and it gives the appearance of being in the strike zone longer when you're on that side of the mound, and you can get it to finish off the plate and get guys to chase it a little bit.
2 balls, no strikes for Christian Yelich. That's out of play to the left side. 2-1. Yelich, a terrific young hitter, hitting .341 since June 27th. He has 43 hits in that stretch. Same number of hits that Charlie Blackmon of the Rockies has. Ground ball right side. That's through for a hit. Dietrich on his way to second will stop there. And now big time trouble. 2 on, nobody out in the 4th inning.
A little too much of the plate than he wanted. But again, with that big hole on the right side, able to just pull a ground ball through. Yelich is a terrifically talented hitter. He's just going to get better and better, and I know it scared the Marlins to death when he had some back problems crop up early in the season.
Yeah, it's the last thing you want to see a kid his age start dealing with.
Yeah.
So a big RBI chance for Justin Bour. And that's off the plate. 1 ball, no strikes. Bour had a nice run earlier this year, hit home runs in 4 consecutive games. He's not hit a homer since. That span 27 games for Miami. See if Tehran can get a ground ball. Line to first. Ternaslovic got the tag down, but Yelich got back to the bag.
Made me think of the way Joey got hurt in spring training when he dove for a tag.
That's good base running by Yelich. Good reaction and going to the inside part of the bag and making it hard for Joey to get to him.
So there's the first out. Double play still in order for Martin Prado, who popped out in the Marlins' second. One ball, no strikes. At the moment, Jace Peterson's playing very close to Derek Dietrich at second base. Ternaslovic is off the line at first. You know, Prado loves to poke the ball to that side of the infield. It's an inviting target for him here with 1 out. And he went around, even count.
Yeah, based on that defense, it'd lead you to believe they're not going to try and pitch him away, but back-to-back sliders away.
Fly ball to right. Markakis retreats. He's got it on the warning track. Dietrich tags. He's around third and will stop there.
Wind really helped that ball. High fastball, and Martin got it on the barrel, but once it got in the air, it really jumped.
Is Dietrich thinking about trying to score on this ball from second?
Absolutely. Look at the turn he made. The outfielder backpedaling from that far away. Why not?
One more out to get, and it's a tough one. Ichiro flat out to left. Two on, 2 out, scoreless game. And upstairs, ball 1.
It's a good pitch to start the at bat. I think you want to get him away with a sinker down and away. Start him there. Get him off the plate a little bit, and don't let him get such a good look at that pitch.
We saw him last night get a couple of hits the other way, or hit the ball the other way a couple of times. With 2 out, I don't think there's any reason why Castro's got to play that close to the bag at second. Try to take that hole away from him on the left side. usual running start. The pitch to the bottom of the zone.
Throw 2 more of those. Make him hit one of those. 2,907 hits in the big leagues for Ichiro. And Duran fired a fastball right by him. It's 2-2. Runner at first goes, and Ichiro pops one up, foul ground at third. Garcia has room. He's got it. And that'll retire the side. Ichiro pops out. Marlins had 2 on, nobody out, and couldn't score. Jace Peterson leads off the 4th inning for Atlanta. No score. Braves and Marlins game 2. We're joined by a man who certainly knew how to make an entrance here in Atlanta. His first game across the street at the old ballpark. Fred McGriff with us here tonight. Good to see you.
Fred, Joe. Hey, the best lefty of all time, Mr. Glenn.
1-1 pitch to Peterson's popped up foul and out of play. Well, hard to believe, Fred. 20 years have passed since the Braves won the World Series. Seems like only yesterday to you guys, I'm sure, and a lot of Braves fans too.
Yeah, it's amazing. Time flies, and just tonight, today being able to see a lot of the guys and everything, Justice and Lemke and the boys, it was nice.
It's a great thing the Braves have put together with this alumni weekend where everybody can get together, huh?
Yes, Greg Michael, he's done a great job and everything. And think about it, they're trying to get me to play softball tomorrow. I just don't know.
Come on, man.
What? Come on.
Smoltz is pitching. You want a piece of that, don't you?
Yeah, but after 3 knee surgeries, I don't know, dude. I think I'm gonna embarrass myself out there. So I gotta think about it tonight.
Yeah.
Stay in the dugout and manage. I'll be your bench coach. We'll be good.
And that'll work.
Fouled away.
We're watching those highlights, and that trademark finish of yours, that high finish, that one-handed finish, where'd that come from?
Well, early on, I started reading the Charlie Lau Art of Hitting 300 book and everything, and George Brett was his big pupil. And George Brett was a great hitter when I was coming up and everything. And I was like, man, I started reading this book, trying to learn and finish high and so forth. And I read the book, and then when I signed with the Toronto Blue Jays, started playing with Cito Gaston, and started getting a little weight shift going and everything. And then think about it, I never tried to finish high. It just happened. I knew when I was trying to swing down, and once I swung down, just the bat finished up high. Then next thing you know, I got Klesko, and the guys trying to imitate it.
Right, I know that.
Fouled back by Daniel Castro. No balls at a strike. 493 career home runs for Fred McGriff. Amazing career. Lifetime 284 hitter. And your 1995 season was just brilliant for the Braves. Remember your numbers that year, Fred?
Honestly, no.
144 games, 604 plate appearances, 27 homers, 93 RBIs. He only struck out 99 times.
Hey, nowadays that's great.
Oh my gosh,
that's great anytime.
Yeah.
No, but the other day I was checking the stats of strikeouts. Like Chris Bryant has like 130. The Pete Pedersen kid out in the Dodgers had like 128, and I mean it's staggering. Even they tell me that Mike Trout's the best player in the league. Last year he struck out 180 times, and this year he has 100 so far. It's amazing.
Is that hard now as a special assistant to the GM to see kids in the minor leagues and try to teach them that strikeouts are a big deal? They're a bad thing.
It's very tough, but think about it nowadays. A lot of times it's about taking pitches, seeing a lot of strikes and everything. So you see guys taking some pretty good pitches. And I try to tell them, like, when you're facing some pretty good pitchers, a lot of times, and you take that first strike on them, now they just going to start throwing you splits and cutters and so forth. And you're going back to the dugout when you're facing a real good pitcher. But that's the way it is nowadays.
Sometimes that first one's the best one, right?
That's why I always laugh because I see Freddie Freeman. Freddie's like, guys, I don't care.
Yeah.
This person coming here, I'm hacking it. And he's a great hitter.
Yep.
First base runner, by the way, for the Braves is Daniel Castro, who walks. So Fernandez into the stretch for the first time with red hot Nick Markakis up there for the Braves. Nick's riding a 13-game hitting streak. And he's a guy, Fred, that doesn't strike out.
Nick's coming around. After you hit that first home run a couple of weeks ago, I was like, yes. Because like, dude, you can't get shut out on the season, dude.
Yeah.
So he's getting it going. I was thinking, like, okay, when he goes to Coors Field in Colorado, he has to get one in, Coors Field. Because, back in the day, you go to Coors Field and like, yes, okay, I know I got to get at least one. I get 2 or 3. That's like just a plus. But you got to get one.
Got to load up Coors Field.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't happen. The Braves didn't have much offense working at Coors Field for 4 days right before the break. That was too bad.
11 runs in 4 games at Coors Field.
And the thing about it was the last game before they went out to Colorado. They were beating the Brewers like 5-3, and they had that game. And the Brewers came back and beat them, and they lost that game. And then they went and lost. They struggled in Colorado, but that Milwaukee game was the one. And they were right there. I think at the time it might have been 5 games out of first, or 4 or 5, something like that. But it was big because think about it, the Washington Nationals starting the year, everybody thought, man, the Nationals with these 4 and 5 great starters, that they'll just run through everybody and blow everybody away, and it hasn't happened. And now all of a sudden the Mets have still got a chance, and the Braves, now they're 9 back or so. But when they were like 4 or 5 games back, it was like, are we seeing this happen?
Yeah, you're right about that Milwaukee game. They were real close. It was the 8th inning. They gave up a home run to Carlos Gomez, a 3-run homer that turned that game around.
2 strikes for Nick Markakis. Castro with a good lead at first. No score. The Braves looking for their first hit. And that's bounced foul on the play. I mentioned, Fred, your special assistant, John Hartnell. What are your assignments? What are you doing with the Braves?
Well, the 3 Johns have been awesome to me. Copy, Schultz, they've been outstanding. But I'm trying to learn some everything. So they've been teaching me well, just the scouting and but I was able to sit in on the amateur draft and so forth. And now I've been going to the minors and watching the young players coming up. The Braves have some good young players. The one kid they drafted is Austin Riley kid. They just moved him up to Danville. I think he had 7 home runs in down in Orlando in the Gulf Coast League. But he's going to be special. He's a third baseman. Got some power. He can pick it at third. The Braxton Davidson kid, it was unfortunate that he had a concussion, but he has power, left-handed hitter. And so they got some guys coming up in the minors. Just a matter of it's going to take some time, 3 or 4 years or so for those guys to come along.
Of all the things that you've learned how to do, I'll bet you've learned how to make a trade.
No, you learned sabermetrics. That's what you've learned.
But nowadays the money's so crazy, that's just like, this guy, he makes $12 million. This one make 14. I think so. We'll trade this guy and that guy. He's like, really? Hey, but I tell you, you know what gets me?
Hey, there's the first base hit. Castro had to hold up for a moment. Now he's going to streak around second. He's on his way to third. Nick Markakis really earned that single. Fought off a couple of nasty pitches from Fernandez. And now the Braves have a scoring chance.
Sinker a little bit up. Can't go up there to a lefty.
One thing about this ball club, the guys coming and going, Fred, all year long. They've played hard. They've tried to do things the right way, and it's been a fun team to watch.
Oh, and of course, the little second baseman, he's been a stud.
Yeah.
Peterson has gotten some huge hits, some big home runs, you know, especially the last few weeks, but he's done a great job. And Maven's come out of nowhere, where Maven is like, he's finally gotten a chance to play every day for the most part, and they got him in the top of the lineup. Like I laugh with Mark Lemke all the time. When you hit an 8th, it's tough, dude. You get nothing but junk because you got Tom Glavine hitting behind you.
Oh, please. That's the only, that's the only time those guys in the 8th slot had protection.
Yeah, so now he's getting a chance to hit in the top of the lineup, and he's getting some pitches to hit, and he's done a great job.
And this guy here, what a revelation he's been, too.
Wow.
Supposed to be the backup catcher, and he's been the everyday guy.
Line drive, base hit. The Braves have scored first. This worked out perfectly for the Braves tonight. Castro gets the walk, and then Markakis and Brzezinski extend their long hitting streaks, and AJ, with a solid single to left, makes it 1-0.
Another one up. That was a changeup, wasn't it?
Changeup. Thigh high.
Yeah, I think AJ will be coming back next year. I don't think he'll retire.
I wouldn't think so.
Hope so.
But I said if he was thinking about not playing next year, he better not be thinking that anymore. Although I don't know if he wants to play this many games, but.
Now Maven with a base hit to right. Here comes Markakis. Ichiro came up ready to throw, and the Braves play for a big inning. After the walk, 3 straight singles has them loaded up.
His last start, Fernandez threw 112 pitches in 6 innings. He was in trouble a lot. Today, he got off to a great start, retired the first 10 in a row. But he had to pitch in and out of trouble in his last start against the Padres. Got a no decision, even though he shut him out for those 6 innings.
So Chuck Hernandez, I beg your pardon, out to talk with Jose Fernandez as the Marlins have fallen behind 1-0. Fred, we've talked and joked to a certain extent about all the pitching the Braves have acquired. There are some very talented young hitters, a few of them you mentioned. Who else has caught your eye in the minor leagues from the Braves system from an offensive standpoint?
Maddox Smith, the center fielder, good young kid. He's fast. You know, he can really steal bases and everything. And he's coming along, but he's still probably a couple of years. You know, he's in AAA right now, but give him a chance to get his feet under him and everything. He's a good player. Like I was saying, Riley kid, Braxton Davison, Justin Ellison kid. There's some good kids. I haven't seen Alvarez play yet. I'm looking forward to seeing him swing it.
Yeah, he's we're told 10-12 days away from being able to get back in action, as he's got a hamstring issue. He's the Cuban third baseman the Braves got from the Dodgers in the big trade that sent Alex Wood out west to Los Angeles.
Another name we've heard is Dustin Peterson, the other Peterson we got from the Padres. Supposed to be able to swing the bat a little bit. And have you seen Rio Ruiz?
A little bit.
The third baseman?
Yeah, he struggled this year, but it was a shame they had the bus accident in Carolina League, so the Peterson kid and a few other kids, they missed a lot of time. Yeah.
Did you ever imagine when your playing days were done, you'd be in a major league front office and going down to the minor leagues and scouting and learning how the operation of a front office works? Is this something you always wanted to do or no?
And it's been fun so far.
Yeah.
Just getting a chance. And the kids, they're great. And, you know, I go down there and hang out with them. But you'll be surprised. Some of the approaches that they have hitting, you know, I would laugh. And nowadays it's all about getting your foot down in time.
Base hit, Terdoslavich. Braves are playing station to station. Ball bounces high off the mound, but no further advance. 4 straight singles. And it's 2-0.
That's probably the worst breaking ball he's thrown so far tonight. He had to pay for it.
Yeah. He hadn't left that one out over the plate. Usually the left-handers is down in that back foot, swing over the top of it, but made a mistake. Tadasevich put a great swing on it.
This is a great opportunity for Turtle, man. You know, he's been up and down for a few years now, and this is one chance to show what he can do.
And how about guys like Adonis Garcia, Freddie? I mean, he came out of nowhere.
It's one of those years, man.
Right?
Like Castro at shortstop. He's been awesome so far since he's been playing.
This guy barrels up everything.
No balls, 2 strikes. 4 homers.
You were talking about everybody and their style now. Get that front foot down.
You got the toe tap. You got don't let the ball get deep on you. Keep your hands inside the ball. There's so much stuff. And these kids are thinking this, you know, whenever they're hitting. And I'm like, guys, man, you know, the ball's on top of you in less than 1 second. And so if you're thinking about all this, it's going to be rough.
See it and hit it.
Yeah, man. Look for that dead red.
Yeah.
That's the best way to hit the breaking ball. Don't miss the fastball.
No balls, 2 strikes for Adonis Garcia. A 1-out walk got this inning started for the Braves. 4 straight singles have followed. RBI hits from Przinski and Tadasevich.
See, now a home run would be nice. That'll be icing on the cake.
Fastball missed. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
But Jose Fernandez Hill's from Tampa. I mean, he went to high school for a couple of years in Tampa, so we got to claim him. So I mean, I don't know if we could be too rough on him.
How'd you like to stand in against this kid?
He has a good arm.
1-2 is cut on and missed, and that's the 2nd out of the inning. Garcia down on strikes, and Todd Cunningham is coming up.
So that's when you go back to the dugout upset. It's like, man, I had the bases loaded, and all I had to do was make contact some kind of way, and I would have got RBI.
Well, maybe Cunningham can do that. He popped out his first time up. Once the Braves announced their trade in the middle hours this afternoon, Todd Cunningham got a phone call. Get your fanny down from Gwinnett. You're needed and you're in the lineup. We were chatting with Freddie Gonzalez about the trade before the game, and Todd walked up and said, "Hey, Skipper, I'm here." He said, "Good, you're in there." I said, "I know. I guess I better go get dressed, huh?" Around 4:30 this afternoon. No balls, 1 strike. And outside.
And it's funny, Chip, because I was in Gwinnett last night, you know, and I was talking to Cunningham, and I'm like, dude, you know, you may have to just try to hit some home runs. Just hit some home runs. Do a little something, dude, you know what I mean, to get you over the hump. Because he's another one goes up and down, but he's more of a singles hitter. Sometimes you just got to, you get that 2-0 count, just turn on it.
Yeah, take a shot.
Yeah.
You know, pick your spots, take a shot.
Well, Brian Snitker and his staff have done an excellent job at Gwinnett this year under real tough circumstances, wouldn't you say?
Oh, no question.
Yeah, they don't. With all the changes we've had here, I don't think Brian's probably hadn't had the same roster for more than 3 days in a row, it seems like lately.
Bounced foul off the front of the Braves dugout. Foul 1-2 for Cunningham.
You know, last night, Terrell Jenkins, he threw down there, and for 4 innings, he got good stuff. He was awesome. And in the 5th inning, he lost his fastball command, and he walked a few guys in that inning. Before you know it, kid hit a double down the line and ended up losing that game. But he has a good arm also.
Yeah, they have definitely restocked their arms throughout the system.
Fly ball toward Dietrich in left, and he's there to retire the side. Freddie, Great to see you. Always a pleasure. Keep up the great work down on the farm.
Appreciate it.
And enjoy this 20-year celebration of the Braves'
you.
95 World Series title. The great Fred McGriff with us in the booth. A.J. Przinsky got things going for Atlanta. An RBI hit helped the Braves to a 2-0 lead after 4. Two of them scored against Jose Fernandez, and Julio Teheran now has staked to a 2-0 lead with the 7, 8, 9 men coming up for the Marlins in the 5th. Man, was it great to have Fred McGriff in the booth or what?
Freddie's great.
He's just got to laugh more.
Oh my gosh. And he didn't even break out his good laugh.
His Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
Man, could he hit.
Yeah, he could. I love that finish of his.
Me too.
Did he? I wasn't with the Braves at the time when he came over in the trade from the Padres. Was that the press box fire game? He had all
yes. Yeah, it was his first game. Yep.
I mean, that's an incredible way to make an entrance, isn't it? And what a huge part he played for the Braves in that great pennant race. 1 ball, 1 strike for Echeverria. He bounced out to first his first time up. This one's poked to Castro at short. He charges and he guns to first, and safe is Echeverria. He hit that ball in a perfect spot. And Miami now with 3 hits and the leadoff man aboard.
Yeah, Castro did all he could do. Just Echeverria just outran it.
It's all he could get on the throw too, moving that direction. Tell you what though, he's slick. That last out of the game last night was not an easy play where he planted and fired to first. Quick release.
Mathis ambushed a first pitch back in the 3rd inning for the first Miami hit. And he takes high, 1 ball, no strikes. Julio started the night retiring his first 7 hitters in a row. He had 2 on, nobody out in the 4th, got out of it. And he's back to the stretch to start the 5th.
We talk about shutdown innings all the time, but especially against a pitcher the quality of Jose Fernandez, you want to keep that momentum in your dugout.
Yeah, and especially when you score a couple runs and then you got the bottom half of the lineup coming up for your shutdown inning, you got to take advantage of that.
2 balls, no strikes. There's a late swing and out of play. There's some excellent pitching matchups all across the big leagues tonight. Our game, one of the featured attractions. Tehran for the Braves. Jose Fernandez for the Marlins. Dodgers and Pirates have a good matchup. That's Kershaw and Garrett Cole. Clayton Kershaw started the game tonight with a 37-inning pitch scoreless streak. That's by the boards. It's a 3-3 game at PNC Park tonight. A fly back toward us and out of play. Washington leads Colorado 2-0 in the bottom of the 6th inning, I believe. It's De La Rosa and Zimmerman. The Mets are in Tampa Bay and losing 1-0 to the Rays. That's in the 7th inning. DeGrom and Odorizzi at Tropicana Field. That's who the Braves play next. Tampa Bay Tuesday night. Going outside, full count.
Fred was saying between innings that Tampa Bay is pretty tough at home. That's, as you said, that's where the Braves head next.
Runner goes. Swing, fly ball center. Maben retreats. Still going back. And he's got it. There's the first out. You'll mention Fernandez is a good hitting pitcher. Everyone in Braves country remembers his first big league home run. That was the game against Mike Minor in 2013. This is his home run he hit this year. It was a mammoth shot.
First game back. But he was running the bases there.
Yeah, he was.
Runner goes and bunted foul. It's strike. Yeah, that was the infamous game down in Miami where Fernandez, who was mad about Evan Gattis kind of dressing up a home run, hit a long home run against Mike Minor, walked out of the batter's box, flipped the bat and jogged around the bases, and Brian McCann and Chris Johnson gave him an earful from the third base bag all the way to home plate. And there's the bunt, and it'll be a successful sacrifice, and there's the second out. The great part of the story for Fernandez is after the scrum and after the bench is cleared and after all the jawing took place, he was very, very apologetic and almost remorseful. And when Brian McCann gave him an earful at the plate, in essence was saying you're better than that. And Jose Fernandez was tearful after the game after his manager pulled him aside in the locker room and said, we don't do things like that here. In fact, Jose Fernandez went all the way over to the Braves clubhouse and apologized personally to Brian McCann and Mike Minor. So the young man grew up in a big hurry and acknowledged his mistake and hasn't repeated that performance.
I just remember that outing here against the Braves when Freddie Freeman was wearing him out, and Freddie hit a double and Jose had his hat off or had his hat tipped up looking at Freddie at second base and grinning because it was like, I'm giving you everything I got.
Yeah, I don't know what else to try.
Yeah, you're still hitting me, which I liked a lot. He's having fun.
Well, and that's a fine line. You want to have fun, but not do it in a disrespectful way.
Yes.
And, you know, good for him. He had a life lesson, a learning moment, and he learned from it and did the right thing and moved on.
I love watching him play. I really do. obviously he's got great stuff, but he's so good for the game. And when guys like Matt Harvey get hurt, when guys like Fernandez get hurt, it's just so catastrophic for the game, because he does play with such joy and such pride. Most major league hitters might feel a little differently with his stuff. He's a big cornerstone for this Marlins club. Gordon skies one down the left field line. Cunningham gives chase and won't have a play. It's a 1-2 count. Back to the mound. Julio was knocked to his backside, but he scrambled to his feet and threw out D. Gordon. A leadoff hit amounts to nothing for Miami. We head to the bottom of the 5th inning. Tehran is out dueling Jose Fernandez 2-0 tonight.
The top of the telecast, Braves with a big trade today as Chris Johnson goes to Cleveland. We get Michael Bourn, and we also get Nick Swisher. Freddie Gonzalez thrilled to get Michael Bourn back.
You ask Andrelton Simmons, you know, what kind of teammate this guy is, and the energy he brings to the game, and the way he plays and the way he goes about his professionalism. You know, plus he's a pretty good player.
So when told that you got 2 center fielders now, Freddie said, I'm not worried about that. One of them will be in left field, and I don't care which one of them is. I just want them both in the lineup. But actually, Nick Swisher will definitely be in the lineup tomorrow. Don't know if he'll start or not, guys.
Thank you, Andre. Julio Tehran leads off for Atlanta in the 5th inning. He struck out in the 3rd against Fernandez. And that's in for a strike and an even count. I was thrilled to hear about the acquisition of Michael Bourn. I loved him when he was a Brave. He had a super year in 2012, 42 steals, hit 9 homers. He's, like Fred McGriff was talking about, he strikes out, he's going to swing the bat. But from a leadership standpoint and a positive influence in your locker room, a positive vibe guy, that's him. Hopefully a return to Atlanta will see Michael Bourne's numbers improve. Had a bit of a struggle with the Indians, but that's what he did in 208 games as a Brave.
Should never have left.
Yeah.
He should have been here leading off, playing center field for the Braves all this time.
And in Nick Swisher, a guy that's playoff tested. He's had some knee problems. Switch hitter, can play the outfield, can play first base. was no secret Chris Johnson wasn't happy with his role with the Atlanta Ball Club, and he wanted to be moved, and the Braves accommodated it.
This is good for Chris too.
Yeah. That's to second. Tricky hop, but Gordon stayed with it and made a fine play with a backhand. 2 out.
Let's not lose sight of the fact too that when Michael Bourne was here, and it may have been that same year you were talking about, Chip, was also when Jason Hayward had his best year. Michael was a great influence on Jason.
And we were talking with that deal with John Hart before the ball game in Freddie's office today. For me, one of the other exciting things about the deal is the Braves are getting some major league players back. Major league offensive players and high character guys. Just adding more to that mix in the locker room for the Atlanta club. And there is a lot to play for the Braves. Yes, they're now a second division club in the East, but who knows what can happen as Castro drives this ball deep toward left, but it's going to be caught by Dietrich. This is a Braves club that has a chance to be a very dangerous club over the last 7 weeks of this 2015 season. Nothing doing in the 5th. We go to the 6th. 2-0. Atlanta leads it. Braves fans, join us here early tomorrow and get your very own 1995 World Series replica ring, available for the first 20,000 fans who attend. Also, make sure to catch members of the 95 team take on the other alumni legends in the 6th annual softball game before the Braves take on the Marlins. For ticket information, visit braves.com/1995. Chipper's got to be happy with the Braves' offensive approach so far tonight. 2 runs on 4 hits. And Julio Teheran has risen to the challenge. He's shutting out the Marlins on only 3 hits tonight.
He's been sharp. Continuing where he left off in his last start, which is a great sign.
Confidence is a wonderful thing, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Let's take it high. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Even if you're in a spot like he was in the 4th inning with a walk and a single to start the inning, if you found something that kind of gets you back to where you feel like you were, especially last season, right up until September for him, you feel like you've gotten some of that back. Doesn't matter if you get in trouble. You know you got the confidence to make a pitch to get out of it.
He really was beaming on the airplane ride from Philadelphia after that last start. And he's carried it over to tonight's play. There's Derek Dietrich behind in the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Leads off the 6th.
I saw him in the clubhouse after the game in Philly as everybody's getting ready to come home, and I said, hey, Hooley, nice game. And he goes, yeah, did you miss me?
Yeah. Yeah.
So he knew.
Yeah, of course he did.
Marlins have had the leadoff man on in each of the last 2 innings. Don't want to do that with the heart of their order due. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And out of play. We'll do it again.
Yeah, there's you. That fastball up and away. See if he comes back with that changeup down. Change his eye levels a little bit. Good try.
So what does he have in mind, Tom? 3-2 now.
Well, I like sinker or changeup away, whichever one he's got the confidence in.
He threw him a changeup, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Dietrich swung over the top. He's down on strikes.
And here's the adjustment we were talking about. You see where he's starting on the mound in the Baltimore game, far right hand side of the rubber. What happens there is he's got to throw all the way across his body to start to pitch effectively inside to the left-handed hitters, and it's always tougher for a pitcher to go glove side inside to a hitter, and when you're throwing that far across your body, even tougher. So the suggestion Roger made was, hey, let's move over on the first base side of the rubber, give yourself a little bit more direct line to get that pitch inside, and give yourself a little bit more error and not have to work so hard to get it in there. And I think that's a big thing. That's a big part of where you lose your confidence on one side of the plate or the other, because you can feel yourself having to work hard to get the ball to go where you want it to go, and when you're having to work that hard, man, your confidence is it's tough to trust yourself to do it repeatedly. And I think as a result of that, you were seeing games where Julio just wasn't pitching inside to lefties hardly at all. I remember I was watching that game at home, and I texted you guys during that game after one of the home runs was it Davis hit, I think. Yes. And I said, man, oh man, if he doesn't start pitching inside a little bit, come to find out, it was a confidence thing. He just didn't feel good about going in there because of what he had to do.
And as a non-pitcher, non-big league hitter, it's so fascinating to me to think that an adjustment of moving your foot 3 inches can make that big of a difference from a man on the mound.
Well, if you think about it, you hear guys talk about it all the time. If you're off by an inch or two on the rubber, well, 60 feet and 6 inches later, now you're really off. And I think the other difficult thing for Julio, what he was trying to do, when you're another good pitch there for strike 3. But when you're trying to pitch across your body, coming inside and throwing that's the pitch he was trying to throw. That 2-seamer that starts at the hitter, they give up, and he gets a call strike. But when you're trying to throw that from the other side of the rubber, boy, oh boy, your margin for error is not very good. And most of the time, if you get it inside, it's going to stay in there. But if you get it on the inside corner, those are the ones that tend to leak, and that was what was happening a lot. They were leaking to left-handed hitters, and they were getting good swings.
This may not have any, I guess, any standing at all, but if you're throwing from the left-hand side.
Castro at short, dives from his knees, throws to first, and Tadasevich with the scoop. What an incredible play and a great bit of glove work at first. Julio likes it. And well, he should. 3 up, 3 down. How about this leathered larceny by the Braves' young infielders? From his knees, Castro ends the Marlins' 6th. For the Marlins, we'll get to those in a moment. As Atlanta has chased Jose Fernandez tonight. One reason why, 2 of their hottest hitters have had some fun. You'll see who those hot hitters are on our Home Depot tools from the dugout.
Braves put together a walk and 4 straight singles in the 4th inning for their 2 runs. Markakis and Krasinski both had hits to extend their hitting streaks. And this guy's out of the game after 76 pitches. Hard to figure.
How many did he have in his last start?
112.
So maybe they're trying to average him around 90-95 pitches per start after he comes back from the Tommy John surgery.
I could see him after 112 not wanting him to go over 100 again, but I mean, he's only at 76.
And really throwing the ball well.
Left with 6 strikeouts over 5 innings and only 2 runs allowed. And Markakis goes to work against Kendry Flores. He's a starting pitcher at AA and did good work. 2.06 ERA at Jacksonville.
Just called him up.
Also spent some time at New Orleans. Made 10 starts there. Went 3-2 with a 2.61 ERA.
They placed last night's pitcher Urania on the disabled list, and Andre Rienzo also on the DL.
Flores a nice move by the Marlins. When they traded Casey McGee to the Giants, Flores and Luis Castillo came over from the Giants. Well, Giants then let go of McGee. He's here and playing first base, and Flores, the man for whom he was traded, is pitching tonight. And he missed high, 3 balls and a strike. Right back where it came from. Nick Markakis is 2 for 3. And he has his 36th multi-hit game of the year tonight.
The pitch was straight, and the line drive was too.
Yes, it was.
That's the one that Reggie Jackson always said, next to a home run, was the best feeling of all, is hitting a ball where you didn't even feel it, right back where it came from.
A.J. Przinsky brought home the first Braves run with a 4th inning single. And that one smacked towards center, but Yelich is there for out number 1. And Cameron Maven's the batter. He's 1 for 2. We have a minute. Want to wish a happy 28th birthday to Braves catcher Ryan LaVarnway. And a happy 59th birthday to our pal Ernie Johnson. Hope you're spending time with friends and family tonight. Maybe watching the ball game. Ernie, hope you're doing well. Can't wait to see you here at the ballpark.
EJ's only 59, huh?
Yep. Proud grandpa, by the way. I'm sure this is a extremely special birthday for Ernie and the whole family. No balls and a strike. And did the catcher get a glove on that?
I don't think so.
I think he was crossed up, and that might have hit David Rackley right in the mask. Wow. Hunter Wendelstedt's on his way in, as is Marvin Hudson to check on Rackley, who may have broken the mask, or at least part of it. Wow.
Oh, man. Right on that throat protector.
That was a really good example of a backup breaking ball. Just never went where it was supposed to, and that's why it looked like the catcher got crossed up.
Now, I've seen that happen where it was catcher missed it on purpose. That was not one of those.
No. Those are usually fastballs.
Cameron Maben came up to me today. He said, "I've been looking for you." I said, "Yeah, I was looking for you too. I loved your socks last night. I guess I won't see him again." He said, "No." He said, I went back and watched the game last night on tape, and I heard what you had to say about chewing tobacco." And he said, "Because of you, I'm not doing it anymore."
Really?
He said, "I also talked to my mom. She said the same thing, that she was watching, and she wished that I would quit. So I'm quitting as of today." So good for him.
Yeah, good for him. Three balls, one strike.
On the way home, we got to buy him a big jar of Tootsie Rolls.
Yep. I'm going to bring him one tomorrow.
Here's a good pitch. Cameron was fooled by it. Full count.
Tom's reference to Tootsie Rolls was what I was talking about last night. If you weren't with us, that when I was little and tobacco made me sick, I thought just to be cool, I would get Tootsie Rolls and put a big wad of Tootsie Roll in my jaw and still be spitting brown to make people think I had tobacco in there.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Runner goes. Bounce to left side. Prado can't get it. That's a hit. Markakis on his way to third. He never stopped running, and the Braves are in business. Cameron Maben with a 2-hit night. He's starting to heat up again for the Braves. Remember, he had the idea to move down in the lineup to get some more RBI chances. He didn't bring Markakis home with that single, but he pushed him to third base, and now Tardaslovich will stand in. Another run sure would be nice. Braves were already up 2-0. Both runs came across in the fourth.
Joey got kicked in the ankle by Bohr the last out of the 6th inning. That ground ball that Castro made such a good play on. Kind of limped to the dugout, but he's obviously okay.
Maben got picked off, and a running tag by Echeverria. Wow, he's really fast. Whew. I mean, he covered a lot of ground in a short period of time.
Caught the ball on the run, got a good feed from McGee. Allowed him to close the gap pretty quick.
So that's the second out of the inning. And Markakis at third for Tardaslovich. And a strike called 0-1. Strike 2.
Nice changeup.
Joey went around, and that will retire the side. No runs, 2 hits, 1 left. Time for the 7th inning. I believe I do. What a wonderful shot that was in Braves history. Fans Atlanta-based multi-platinum Christian rock band Third Day performs after the game this Sunday. A free post-game concert. VIP field and backstage passes are available now. Get your tickets at Braves.com. The pitching matchup as good as we thought it would be. Julio Teheran has outdueled Jose Fernandez. He leads him 2-0 after 6 innings. Julio's thrown 84 pitches tonight. He's scattered 3 hits and has struck out 2 men. And Martin Prado with a base hit to lead the inning off. And now Ichiro stands in. Big sequence came in the 4th inning. Ichiro's last time up. The Marlins had runners first and third, 2 outs, and Suzuki popped up in foul ground over by the stands. Donis Garcia hauled it in to preserve the shutout bid. And a bouncing ball foul. 0-1.
What he does and how he gets the bat started is pretty amazing, that he makes such solid contact and has as many hits as he does, because he's starting early. He's winding up and starting early and anticipating that he's going to get a pitch down the middle every time. Some kind of good hitter.
One ball, one strike. And that one stayed down. Castro played it to the side, couldn't get to it. Now the Marlins have a threat. 2 on, nobody out.
Yeah, that one hugged the ground. You're right, Chip. Didn't come up for him at all.
Back-to-back hits begins Miami's 7th, and Adeiny Echeverria is the batter. He legged out an infield hit last time up. All 5 Miami hits are singles. That's a ball, 1 ball, no strikes. And Roger McDowell down for a quick visit.
This might be to buy some time for the bullpen more than anything else. No one was throwing, and as quickly as this started up, they need to get somebody busy. Once Detweiler begins to loosen.
Echeverria turned 26 on April 15th. Acquired with Henderson Alvarez, Anthony DeSclafani, Yunel Escobar, Jeff Mathis, Jake Marisnick, and Justin Nicolino for Bonifacio, Buck, Burley, Johnson, Reyes, and Cash. That was before the 2013 season. And it's a trade that's really helped both franchises.
He's a great example of a guy who was young when he first got to the big leagues after the trade. Probably a little overpowered, maybe a little overmatched, but has really matured and gotten stronger at the big league level.
That's trouble. And that's going to get to the fence. Prado scores. Ichiro's getting waved around, and he will score standing up. Adeiny Echeverria has tripled home 2, and the game is tied at 2.
And threw him a slider away for strike 1. Tried to back it up with the backdoor slide or sinker and left it up. And he can pick him up and put him down in a hurry too.
Sure can.
That's his 4th triple. And now Atlanta brings the infield in for Jeff Mathis. With nobody out, runner at third base. And downstairs. Remember, Casey McGee checked in. He's on deck. Swing. 2 balls into strike. And it's even 2-2.
Well, whatever your strikeout pitch is, you got to make it right here. This is where you got to try everything possible to keep that run from scoring in this situation. Make that pitch here.
Missed with a fastball. Now it's 4 count.
It's that glove side fastball again. PNC Bank lets us know it was off the plate. Good try by Brzezinski to frame it.
Tap toward third. Garcia with peg to first. No advance of Echeverria. There's the first out.
That's as good as a strikeout in this situation.
Casey McGee steps in.
There's a good chance this guy's going to put it in play. He doesn't strike out much despite his low batting average and his low numbers that caused the Giants to release him. He's usually a tough guy to get the ball by.
Infield way in. As McGee missed a sweeping slider. Strike one. Triple by the Marlins shortstop has the game tied at 2 here in the 7th.
Yes, good pitch. Get much better than that.
If he can start that sinker where that slider just finished. And that's the one he's got having trouble with. Tries to go there, but keeps missing up and away.
He struck him out. 2 outs.
It's only the 7th strikeout for McGee since he joined the Marlins in 55 at bats. Got him go upstairs.
And that'll be the last pitch of the night for Julio Teheran. A rising fastball that McGee swung through. And Julio will get a nice ovation as he makes his way to the Braves dugout. It's tied at 2. The Braves bullpen in play with a go-ahead runner at third base.
And your local Ford dealer.
Braves fans, as part of this year's celebration of 50 years in Atlanta, we want you to help select the most memorable moment in Braves history. Go to Braves.com/A50 today through tomorrow and vote on the current matchup. The 1995 World Series clinch versus Brooks Conrad's walk-off grand slam in 2010. Visit Braves.com/A50 to relive your favorite Atlanta Braves moments.
And Julio is breezing along going into the 7th inning. He'll have to leave it in the hands of Ross Detweiler now with the go-ahead run at 3rd and 2 out. Ross has inherited 6 runners, allowed only 1 to score, but he's given up runs in each of the last 2 outings.
Foul back to the screen. 1 ball, 1 strike. Look out. And that's bounced into the camera well. Everybody all right down there? Check your f-stop, Larry and Walt. 1 ball, 2 strikes. To first. It's a race to the bag, and Gordon beat the wrap, and a run is in. Speed never slumps, and D. Gordon with a roller to first outran Terdoslavich, Detweiler, and the baseball, and the go-ahead run is in for the Fish.
Joey backed up to play that second hop. Detweiler just didn't get there in time.
Yeah, I think the only chance he had is if he comes in and gets that, makes that throw or beats him to the bag. But once he backed up, it was trouble.
Or reach over and tag him, which is what happened the other night with Marksberry.
Now Gordon's in a rundown, and he's going to be tagged out. So Detweiler picks off D. Gordon, but not before an infield ground ball turns into a run-scoring hit. The Marlins score 3 runs off Julio Teheran in the 7th inning and now have a 3-2 lead. Tonight, and of course, Mad Dog Greg Maddux, and you know he remembers tonight's Coors timeless moment. Just a few short years ago, Greg Maddux, as a member of the Chicago Cubs, picked up his 300th career win out at AT Park in San Francisco. 2004.
Yeah.
Man.
Isn't it amazing? Tom Glavine picked up his 300th win on August 5th. Maddox's 300th on August 7th.
I'm just bum-fuzzled by the 11 years ago.
A foul ball hooked by Garcia down the third base line as the Braves go to work in the 7th inning. 3 straight hits allowed by Julio Teheran in the 7th, cost him 3 runs, and D. Gordon's speed brought home the go-ahead tally for the Fish. And cute foul. It's still 0-2. Garcia, Cunningham, and then the Braves bench will be in play. Weiler's spot is due third. And rolled toward Echeverria. Funny hop, but he made the play. 1 down. Clark Spencer from the Marlins newspaper staff asked Martin Prado to compare Andrelton Simmons and Adeiny Echeverria. And I thought Martin had a very interesting comparison and contrast between the two of them. And it's unfortunate Simmons hasn't played yet in this series because of the bad thumb. Andrelton said that Echeverria is a little more athletic, a little more flexible in the way he plays. He can make the more spectacular play. He said Simmons, as this ball is bounced into short, Echeverria, long throw, no chance to get Cunningham. The ball ricochets off the screen. Nobody covered second base, and Cunningham's there. And he thought about going to third. Thank you very much.
When he first took off for second, I thought, he'll be a dead out. But no one at the bag.
So I'm assuming that's a hit and an error on the overthrow. And if it is, it'll be the first error for Echeverria in 43 games.
Weird way to get one.
Yeah. So there's a hit and an error, and the tying run in scoring position. Pedro Siriaco is the batter. But to finish the thought from Martin Prado, he said about Andrelton Simmons, he's so good because of his experience and how to position himself, which is where Echeverria, as he continues to play, is rapidly gaining ground. These are the best 2 defensive shortstops in the National League. Simmons highest fielding percentage, Echeverria second. Siriaco hits it to short, and another boot.
How about that?
Wow. No errors in 43 games, and he's made errors in back-to-back plays.
Crazy, crazy game.
He already had this. It's in his glove.
Yeah. Fumbled it on the transfer. It's hard to imagine, though, watching Andrelton every day as much as we do, that there's anybody you think makes more spectacular plays than he does.
Yeah.
As good as Echeverria is and as athletic as he is, it's hard to imagine anybody's making more spectacular plays.
So it's set up for Jace Peterson. 2 on, 1 out. Braves are down a run and in the dirt. Mathis couldn't find it, but dropped to his feet.
I get what Martin's saying, though, because Echeverria is so fast.
Yeah, right.
I'm not going to say that he's quicker because I don't know, but he is definitely faster than Andrelton, so maybe he is a little rangier. What makes Andrelton so spectacular to me is how great his arm is from any angle.
1 ball, no strikes. Jace Peterson. Might have been crossed up on that pitch.
Well, if he's not, he's receiving the ball a little in some odd ways. And Toby Bazner's already been smoked once back there tonight. Or excuse me, David Rackley. He got hit with a pitch on the mask, so he might be heads up here.
Cunningham at second. Siriaco's at first. And the 2-0 pitch. He's outside. But for Martin Prado, what a thrill for him. He's got to play with two really gifted shortstops. And asking to compare those two is what, who's your favorite child?
Yeah. And, you know, I'm sure, you know, it's not. And I don't mean to suggest that Martin's wrong. I mean, that's his opinion. And, you know, they're both really good. But I'm just saying from our standpoint, Peterson takes the walk. As much as we see Anderson make great plays, it's just, you know, we don't even want to entertain that discussion because there's no way. There's no way anybody else is that good.
That is exactly right.
So a chance for a gigantic inning for the Braves. The bases are loaded, 1 out. Mike Dunn, a left-handed pitcher, is loosening in the bullpen. But he's not going to come on to face Castro, I don't think. Maybe he will. He will. Dan Jennings is on his way out, and he's going to bring in the lefty to face the righty Braves shortstop. Game on the bases for the Braves. A 3-2 Marlins game. 2 Danny Echeverria errors. His first errors in 42 games has opened the door for the Braves to come back late. We'll see how it works out after this time out. 3-2 Marlins lead, but boy, are they in big trouble. Atlanta has loaded the bases here in the 7th. An infield hit, 2 errors and a walk. And Daniel Castro will be the Braves hitter, and it's time for our Georgia lottery hitting the jackpot.
Daniel Castro's been really good. 6 for his last 12 over the last 3 ball games. Has a walk tonight in 3 trips. I was just looking at Dunn's splits, and I thought maybe there was a reverse type split for him, and that's not so. Lefties 197, right-handers 278. And he's coming off an outing, I'm sure his worst of the year against the Mets. 2/3 of an inning, 5 hits, 4 runs.
Yeah, a little unconventional wisdom here. We'll see how it works out.
He's allowed just 4 of 27 inherited runners to score this year. And he's got 3 on with 1 out. And he starts Castro with a strike.
He's a strikeout guy, and they need one.
One for Castro. Little tapper toward third. Prado's coming home, and the play at the plate in time. A force play. Cunningham's out. I'd like to take a look just to make sure Mathis had his foot on the plate.
Yeah, I don't know why he looked like he was in a position to want to make a tag. I'm interested to see it too.
Oh, I see what happened. He leaned down to get the bat. It may have caused him to not know if he had his foot on the base. Also, he was blocking home plate. Gave Cunningham no place to go.
His foot's not on the plate.
No, it's not. When he caught the ball, it's not on the plate.
His foot was not on the plate when he caught that ball.
No.
So what Fredi Gonzalez is going to do here, he's going to challenge two things. One, the plate was blocked, and by challenging that particular part of the play at the plate, he also gets the free look at whether or not Mathis's foot was touching the dish, and I don't think it was.
That's an odd thing for a catcher to do, is worry about the bat. Usually the bat is his friend because the runner's got to run around it.
His foot's not touching the plate.
No.
And he never tagged it.
No.
There's the catch. Well, we're looking at it on the scoreboard.
Yeah, he never tagged it.
He never tagged it. No. His foot went from flat to extended when he went to catch the ball and never had the plate. Watch his right foot. This call is going to be overturned, I'll bet you, and the Braves are going to have a tie game.
If it's not, that would be news.
But I mean, it's almost like he received that ball forgetting there was a force play.
Yeah.
I don't, you know, like he was rolling into making a tag and getting contact instead of just standing on home plate like a first baseman.
Listen to the fans chanting safe. By rule, there has to be clear and convincing evidence to change the call at the plate, which was out on the force play. Very clearly, no tag was made. They have to ensure that no part of Mathis's foot was touching the plate when he received the ball on the run from Martin Prado.
I think that was pretty clear and convincing too.
The call is overturned. Game is tied 3-3. That'll be a fielder's choice RBI, I suppose. And now Markakis will get to hit with the bases loaded, one out.
That would be Castro's first big league RBI.
Nick has 2 hits tonight. Swing and a miss. Markakis tallied his 36th multi-hit game with a 6th inning single. He's knocked in 7 runs this year against the Marlins. The beauty here, a fly ball could give Atlanta a 7th inning lead. Two. So Tehran's off the hook.
Just like we saw earlier in the game with Garcia when he came up with the bases loaded and struck out. Just need to try and put the ball in play. Let the defense make a play.
Castro, Peterson, Siriaco, the runners from first to third for the Braves. And Dunn out of the stretch, ready for his 0-2 pitch. Team Prado did everything he could. Mathis just forgot to touch the plate.
Yeah, I still don't understand why Mathis is worried about the bat. If he thought it was going to be in the way of the throw, then he obviously did forget that all he had to do was stand on the plate and receive the throw.
Yeah, but, I mean, like you said, it's still more of a detriment to the runner than it is to him. So I don't know why he's worried about it.
And he was. As Cunningham was ruled safe for 1-2 pitch. Off plate 2-2.
Well, that's a good take by Nick. Hard one to lay off.
Around third. Yelich loads up. Throw to the plate. Cut off. Throw to third. In time.
And Bo Porter wants that appealed.
But Nick Markakis comes through with an opposite field single to plate. 2 more Atlanta runs. The Braves have a 5-3 lead, and we might have another review on the tag play at third base.
He really slowed down his arm angle to me, at least from this vantage point, Tommy, and I think gave Nick a chance to adjust to that breaking ball.
So a disastrous defensive inning for the Marlins, and Castro appeared to beat that one easily at third base. The angle from where Bob Davidson made the call, there was no way he could see the glove touch the leg before the foot got in.
No question.
And you can see where from behind the play you can't tell where that glove makes contact, and it looks from the swing like he beat his foot to the bag, but from that angle you can see the tag wasn't applied till his foot was on the bag.
So a 3-hit game for Nick Markakis. And this will be the deciding look.
Foot on the bag. Glove. You can see when it hits the knee how the uniform ripples.
He's safe. So what an inning.
What an at bat by Nick.
Danny Echeverria 0 for 2 on defensive plays. The Braves 2 for 2 in successful challenges. And Atlanta has struck for 3 runs in the 7th inning to reclaim the lead, now 5-3. The 3 runs in charge to Flores. Now Dunn faces A.J. Przinsky.
Misses away and fouls it off. Strike one. Maybin's next. 3 balls and a strike. Now it's full count. Ten o'clock in Atlanta. A brilliantly pitched game through 6 innings for Teheran and Jose Fernandez. Miami got 3 in the top of the 7th. Atlanta answered with 3 in the home half and are still hitting. AJ's still alive. Markakis goes, and AJ bounces one to short. Only one play, it's to first. AJ put it in play and brings home a big run.
He sure did.
We begged for plays like that all year last year, and we've seen it about 100 times more this year.
Well, and we've seen AJ do this about 15, 20 times too, where he's hit a ball that was nowhere near the plate. He just put it in play somehow, some way.
He drove in the first run for the Braves. He's driven home the latest run for the Braves tonight. And it's now a 3-run Atlanta advantage in the 7th. Here's Maybin. He bounced one off the plate. Echeverria has to charge and throw on the run. The Braves take advantage of a disastrous defensive inning for the Marlins. 4 runs come across on 2 hits and 3 Miami miscues. Here's a big play for the Braves beginning. In fact, it's our Toyota key play of the game.
Little tapper to third. The catcher tries to get the bat out of the way, and in doing so, either forgot that he had a force out. Well, he's got his foot on the plate, but then pulled his foot off the base as he was taking that throw from Prado, and the review showed that he was safe. So key play of the game, and then also tip the cap to Horacio Ramirez. The work he's doing in there in the Brave review room.
So Matt Marksberry's on for the 5th time. Matt's done a nice job out of the Braves bullpen,
I'll say, and getting more and more responsibility, not just mop-up work.
Two Echeverria errors. The Mathis misplay at the plate. The Marlins gave the Braves 6 outs in essence in the home 7th. And Eric Dietrich leads off and takes the ball. Colorado had a big inning late. They lead the Nationals 5-4 in the 9th inning. The Mets lead Tampa Bay 4-3 in the bottom of the 9th at Tropicana Field. If the Mets win that game with a 2.5 game lead over Washington in the East.
You never know how those types of things are going to play out. Like when Washington acquired Papelbon when they already had a good closer in Drew Storen. It may be within the next 10 days or 2 weeks that all smooths out, and they're all of a sudden it's the greatest bullpen in the world. But there's a lot of hurt feelings over there, and a lot of people who were Drew Storen fans who didn't like the fact that he got displaced out of that closer's role.
Broken bat. Peterson tracks it down. 1 out.
And I don't know the circumstances of that late rally by Colorado if it involved the back of their bullpen, but that's kind of a disruptive thing to do to your club.
Yeah, I still had a hard time understanding exactly what that was all about, other than maybe it was, we remember what happened to Storen, what was it, 3 years ago in the playoffs when he melted down, and we're not going to let that happen again. I don't know. I mean, he was having a good year. Wasn't like he was struggling as their closer.
That team chemistry thing, it's such a, it's a very fragile and delicate thing, and a GM has to, I'm sure, be very aware of that, as does the field manager when you bring in a new guy.
You got to be careful with the chemistry aspect as to, first and foremost, are you adding a good guy? And I'm not suggesting for a second Papelbon's not a good guy, but that's first and foremost. But then secondly, you have to ask, okay, what does this move do to make us a better team based on the dominoes that are going to fall because of it? And I think
Yelich to center and deep. Maben is back. The ballpark is big enough to hold it.
And I think clearly with that move, where it causes the dissension is, you got a lot of guys in their clubhouse scratching their heads saying, what are we doing? Why did we do this? And like I said, I'm sure a lot of guys are, Drew Storen fans, and they're tight and they've been teammates, and now all of a sudden they see their buddy that's been doing a good job all year long, now he's doesn't have his job anymore, and like I say, they're saying, what are we doing?
He gave up 4 in the 8th.
He did.
Drew Storen.
Marksberry, a good job, retired the 2 men he was assigned in the 8th inning, and Freddie Gonzalez will go back to his bullpen. 6-3 Atlanta, 8th inning of game 2 against the Marlins. Titanic struggle on Fox Sports 1.
I'm still amazed at Ronda Rousey, what she did.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. 34 seconds?
Yeah. David Archma is the next for Atlanta. David's hit a rough patch of late for the Braves. A chance to rebound here with 2 outs and nobody aboard.
Yeah, 2 of his last 3 outings have been a little sketchy, but he only needs 1 out.
And he'll face TJ Realmuto, the Marlins catcher, the kid that's been out with the bone bruise on his catching hand. He said in the papers in Miami that the catcher's mitt that he used, the padding was worn out. Catching all the heavy fastballs. So instead of breaking a new glove, he kept using the old comfortable mitt. It cost him some time.
Well, you got to have one in reserve.
Good young player who made Jared Saltalamacchia expendable in the early days of the season. Salty was traded to the Diamondbacks. Realmuto, the #1 man in harness for the Fish.
That's one thing. That's one guy we failed to mention last night when we were talking about the changes to this ball club, was how much they were counting on Saltalamacchia to be their #1 catcher all year. He got off to such a rotten start that he lost his job.
JT Realmuto out of Carl Albert High School in Midwest City, Oklahoma. Didn't get it. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 3rd round pick 5 years ago.
This is your favorite guy, Chip. Barraclaw.
I used to broadcast him 3 at a time. They get lodged right here.
1-2. It's swing and miss. And old Mr. Barraclaw is coming on to pitch. Archma gets his man. 3 up, 3 down in the 8th.
Back. Great at bat. Took a slider the other way over the shortstop's glove. 2 big runs.
So this is our first look at Kyle Barraclaw. He's the young man who came from the Cardinals for Steve Cishek.
60 strikeouts in 43 2/3 innings grabbed my attention.
Yes.
30 walks also.
Yeah, opponent average pretty low. Looks like when he's throwing strikes, he's tough to hit.
So this is his major league debut. Brought up from Jacksonville today. So welcome to the show, Kyle Barraclough. And he'll face Joey Trdoslavich, Adonis Garcia, and Todd Cunningham. Mets have beaten Tampa Bay 4-3. Waiting on a final in Washington. Colorado leads in the ninth at last report 5-4. Here it's 6-3 Braves, bottom of the eighth. Toronto just won. They beat the Yankees in 10 innings. The Jays are a juggernaut right now.
7 in a row.
They're
6 in a row.
9-1 in their last 10. They're trying to chase down the Yankees. After tonight's ball game, the Jays play New York 12 more times. And with their victory tonight, they're 3.5 games behind the Bronx Bombers.
Yeah, I'd say they're deadline moves. A little bit of a fire there.
Yeah.
Joey T couldn't stop himself. Barraclough has his first big league strikeout. Mathis handed the baseball to the home plate umpire, and little confusion. The ump said, "Hey, what do you want me to do with baseball?" He said, "Hey, it's his first big league strikeout." Here's Garcia. Look out. Look out. That fan in the Dan Ugler shirt really saved a couple of folks. That ball was twirling right toward that young fan in the Miami shirt, and it deflected into the camera well. Watch this.
He's bothered that he didn't get the bat. He ought to be thrilled that he saved his son.
Yeah, that could have been ugly.
Look out. Laser beam right side. 1-2. Dodgers and Pirates tied 4-4, bottom of the ninth inning in Pittsburgh. Cubs beat the Giants today 7-3. Cubs playing well in a big series. This ball's hit to Prado at third. Martinez got it. Crow hops and throws. 2 out.
So far a mid-90s fastball. This guy making his debut, and a hard slider. Trdoslavich may have struck out, but Joey's still got more letters in his name.
One ball, no strikes. They are in the bottom of the ninth inning in Washington. Rockies 5-4, leading with 1 out. Line to second, and that will send us to inning number 9. The Braves have a 3-run lead at home. 6-3 is your score. We'll see if Atlanta can finish them off right after this.
lottery.
Fans, follow the Braves wherever you are with MLB.com. At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com at Bat for your smartphone or for your tablet. Last night, a night of firsts for a couple of Braves relievers. Andrew McCurahan picked up his first big league win. Arodys Vizcaíno, his first big league save. He tries to go 2-2 and wrap things up in the top of the ninth tonight.
Clean inning. How about that? Up for that. Go through it. Knock it out.
We'll have Prado, Ichiro, and Echeverria coming up. Game turn for the Braves in the bottom of the 7th inning. Marlins saw their shortstop Echeverria make 2 errors. His first errors in 43 games. And then Mathis forgot to touch home plate on a force play that led to a 4-run inning. Ball, well, take that back. Late called strike. It's 0-1 to Prado.
Good call by David Rackley on our PNC Bank Fox tracks.
Ground ball right side. Martin Prado leads off with a single. Martin with 2 hits, 3rd hit of the series.
That's so Martin. Take a pitch, make sure the guy throws you a strike, down by 3, and then rip a single.
He's another guy that we hated to see go. Prado was part of the Justin Upton deal. Arizona insisted on Prado going west. Boy, was he good in his time with the Braves, and still is an excellent player. Team with 91 hits in 84 games for Miami this year. And here's Ichiro. Taken low, even count. Slash toward left. Cunningham on the run. What a catch! What a catch by Todd Cunningham, who dived and saved a double.
Todd Cunningham has been pretty much acknowledged as the best defensive outfielder in the Braves organization. You can put him at any of the 3 spots, and he's comfortable at any of the 3. Had to lunge for that and haul it in.
That was a heck of a play. Went a long way for that.
He's had a good return. Scored that run that retied the game in the 7th, and now a great catch.
A strike to Adeiny Echeverria. He has an infield hit, a 2-run triple. Well, the bottom fell out of that pitch. 0-2. He went around. Echeverria's rung up. 2 out.
What's Dan Jennings going to do here?
And he's thrown out immediately.
Why is he yelling at him?
I think he's yelling at him for the strike call before that. I think they thought it was low in the zone based on how AJ caught it, and then that was just icing on the cake.
Yes, he did.
So Dan Jennings had his say, and he's been ejected with 2 outs in the 9th inning. And the Marlins are down to their final out. It'll be Cole Gillespie. Brett Butler takes over the lineup card. As Gillespie digs in and takes a strike. Gillespie was called up June 27th. He's played center and right for Miami this year. And has 6 hits this year for the Fish with a runner in scoring position. Now Vizcaíno a strike away. 22,769. Alumni night. It's just like the good old days in Game 2. Braves are beating Miami by 3.
If Braves fans love watching Craig Kimbrell come in and throw upper 90s fastballs to close games, the Braves have another guy that's in that same neighborhood in terms of velocity.
Fly ball down the right field line. Long run Markakis. It's a foul ball. And Gillespie will see another pitch.
I'm not ready to put Vizcaíno in Kimbrell's category yet. Closing games, he's got a long way to go, but he's got a big arm.
Count. Don't want to walk him. That would bring the potential tying run to the plate. And that man is Casey McGee.
Yeah, let's wait and see him tomorrow.
We'll see him tonight. 2 on, 2 out. Strike 1.
Got ahead of him. Stay ahead of him.
Fly ball center field. Maben is there, and the Braves have beaten the Marlins. 6-3 is your final score. Atlanta, with 4 runs in the 7th inning, cashed in 3 Miami defensive mistakes. Big night for Nick Markakis, A.J. Przinsky, and Todd Cunningham also had a terrific night at the plate and in the field. Atlanta hands the Marlins their 5th straight loss, 6-3 tonight's final. We'll recap it for you after this.